racist depiction using one of the oldest and most disgusting racial stereotypes in American history, the comparison of black people to monkeys and apes. This is Jim Crow-era racism. This is the kind of imagery that was used to dehumanize black Americans for centuries, and Trump shared it with his millions of followers like it was no big deal. The video sits there overnight. People start seeing it Friday morning as they wake up and check social media. Democrats immediately start sounding the alarm. Progressive groups are organizing. The NAACP is preparing statements. But what's different this time is Republicans can't ignore it or defend it because it's so obviously, undeniably racist that there's no spin that makes it okay. Tim Scott, who has spent years defending Trump and making excuses for him, comes out and says this is the most racist thing he's seen from the White House. Mike Lawler from New York, a Republican in a swing district who needs suburban voters to win re-election, says the post was wrong and deeply offensive and needs to be removed with an apology. Senator John Curtis from Utah calls it blatantly racist. These are not Democrats. These are Republicans who understand that defending this would be political suicide and morally indefensible. So the White House goes into damage control mode, but they botch it completely. First, they put out a statement saying the criticism is fake outrage and trying to spin it as Democrats being too sensitive. That backfires immediately because you have Republicans joining the condemnation. So clearly it's not just partisan attacks. Then they switch tactics and take the video down around midday Friday, and suddenly the story is, a staffer posted it, Trump didn't know about the ending, it was a mistake. But Trump himself undercuts that excuse when he talks to reporters on Air Force One. He admits he watched the video, he just claims he only watched the first part about election fraud and didn't see the racist ending, which is insane for multiple reasons. First, if you're the president and you're sharing content to millions of people, maybe watch the whole thing before you post it. Second, his own statement proves he saw at least part of it, which means he approved it going out without doing basic due diligence. Third, even if we believe him that he didn't see the ending, which a lot of people don't, that means his social media operation is so chaotic and unvetted that openly racist content can get posted to the president's account without anyone catching it. That's not better. That's just a different kind of terrible. And Trump refuses to apologize. Reporters ask him directly, will you apologize to the Obamas? And he says, no, I didn't make a mistake, while simultaneously saying he condemns the racist part and didn't see it. You can't have it both ways, dude. Either you saw it and you're responsible, or you didn't see it and you should apologize for your team's massive screw-up that hurt millions of people. But Trump's ego won't let him admit fault on anything, so instead he tries to play victim, talking about how he looks at thousands of things and can't be expected to watch every video all the way through. Cool. So hire a competent social media team that doesn't post racist content. Problem solved. Meanwhile, Barack and Michelle Obama are out here playing 4D chess by doing absolutely nothing. They don't comment, they don't engage, they just post about the Winter Olympics and move on with their lives like Trump is beneath their notice. And that drives Trump crazy. You know it does, because he wants a fight. He wants Obama to come out swinging so he can play the victim and rally his base. But Obama's not giving him that. Obama's letting the rest of America do the work. Hakeem Jeffries calls Trump a vile, unhinged, and malignant bottom feeder. Civil rights leaders are organizing. Suburban voters who already didn't like Trump's racial rhetoric are getting even more turned off. International media is covering this as a major scandal that reinforces every negative stereotype about Trump and America under his leadership. The BBC, German public broadcasting, French newspapers, outlets from India to the Middle East are all running stories about how the American president posted racist content about his predecessor. That's the image of America Trump is projecting to the world right now. And here's where it gets interesting for the politics of this. Trump's approval rating has been shaky, hovering in the low 40s. Not terrible, but not strong. His support with black voters is basically non-existent, around 5 to 8% depending on the poll. But he needs to maintain support with suburban white voters, college-educated voters, and independents to have any shot at helping Republicans keep Congress in the midterms this November. Well, guess what? Those are exactly the voters who are most turned off by overtly racist content. You can talk about economic anxiety and border security and appeal to those voters, but when you post videos of black people as apes, you lose them immediately. Republicans in swing districts know this, which is why they're publicly condemning Trump, even though it might make the MAGA base mad. They're looking at their internal polling and seeing that defending this video would cost them their seats. Trump's also got a history here that makes this worse. This isn't the first time he's shared racially charged or outright racist content. People remember the attacks on Obama's birth certificate. People remember him calling countries in Africa certain names. People remember the inflammatory videos about immigrants and crime. Every single time Trump does something like this, it reinforces the narrative that he's a racist, and that narrative drives away voters he needs while energizing Democrats. So by posting this video, even if he claims it was an accident, Trump just handed Democrats a massive gift heading into the midterms. They can now run ads in every competitive district showing Republicans either defending Trump's racism or refusing to condemn it strongly enough. They can mobilize black voters and young voters and suburban voters who are disgusted by this. And they can make the entire election a referendum on whether America wants to be represented by someone who posts this kind of content. That's not a fight Trump wins outside of his hardcore base. And his hardcore base alone is not enough to hold Congress. The math doesn't work. This was a catastrophic unforced error, and the fallout is just beginning. So what does this actually mean for the country, for the election, for the future of politics under Trump's second term? Because this isn't just another news cycle controversy that disappears in a week. This is a defining moment that exposes who Trump really is and what he's willing to tolerate from himself and his team. And the consequences are going to ripple out for months. First, let's talk about the immediate political damage. Republicans are terrified right now because they know this video is going to show up in every attack ad from now until November. Democrats are already cutting campaign spots, showing Trump's post next to statements from Republican members of Congress who either defended him or stayed silent. If you're a Republican running in a suburban district in Pennsylvania or Arizona or Wisconsin, you are absolutely screwed by this because your Democratic opponent is going to hammer you every single day with your president posted racist content, and you didn't do enough to stop him. Some Republicans like Tim Scott and Mike Lawler tried to get ahead of it by condemning the video quickly, and that might save them. But the ones who stayed quiet or made weak statements are going to pay a price with voters who are already on the fence about supporting the GOP. And this is happening at the worst possible time for Trump because the midterms are 9 months away, and he needs Republicans to hold Congress or else he's facing the impeachment and 25th Amendment threats we've been talking about in other videos. Losing even a few seats in the House or Senate because of this racist video controversy could be the difference between Trump finishing his term and Trump getting removed from office. That's how high the stakes are. Every suburban mom who sees this video and decides she can't vote Republican, every college-educated voter who gets turned off by the racism, every moderate who was already uncomfortable with Trump and now has concrete proof he hasn't changed, those are votes that add up to Democrats taking control of Congress and then moving forward with constitutional procedures to kick Trump out. So yeah, this video might end up being one of the most consequential posts of his entire presidency, not because of what it says, but because of the electoral consequences it triggers. Second, let's talk about what this means for race relations in America. Trump has spent years claiming he's not racist, pointing to his support among a small slice of black voters, talking about criminal justice reform and opportunity zones and all these policy things his team can point to. But then he goes and posts a video depicting the Obamas as apes, and all of that gets wiped away in an instant. You can't claim you're not racist when you're literally sharing imagery that compares black people to animals. That's textbook racism. That's not even a gray area. And the message this sends to black Americans is that even if you become president, even if you serve with dignity and grace and have sky-high approval ratings like Obama still does, the next guy can come in and dehumanize you with racist stereotypes and face basically no real consequences. Trump took the video down and blamed a staffer, but he refused to apologize, and within 72 hours, the news cycle will move on and he'll still be president with all the same power he had before. That's demoralizing and infuriating for millions of Americans who thought we were past this kind of open racism from national leaders. But here's where Obama's silence becomes genius. By refusing to engage, by not giving Trump the fight he wants, Obama maintains the moral high ground and lets the country see Trump for who he really is without any distractions. If Obama had come out with an angry statement, Trump would have made the story about Obama attacking him and his base would have rallied around him. Instead, Obama posts about the Olympics and moves on, and the story stays focused on Trump's racism with no way for him to change the subject. It's political jujitsu at the highest level. Obama knows that Trump's worst enemy is Trump himself, so just let him keep talking. Let him keep defending the indefensible. Let him keep making excuses, and the damage compounds. That's the revenge, not some public statement or legal action, but simply letting Trump destroy his own credibility and support while Obama looks presidential and above it all. Third, think about what this means for social media and tech platforms. Trump posted this on his own platform, which he controls, so there's no outside moderation, no one to stop him except his own team. And clearly his team either didn't catch it or didn't care enough to stop it before it went up. That raises huge questions about whether presidents should have their own social media platforms with no oversight, whether there should be some kind of review process for official presidential communications, and whether racist content from a sitting president should be grounds for investigation or consequences beyond just bad press. Congress could theoretically hold hearings about this. Tech companies that partner with Trump's platform could pull their support. Advertisers could boycott. None of that has happened yet, but the pressure is building, especially from civil rights organizations who are demanding accountability. And finally, let's talk about what happens next. Trump's not going to change, we know that. He'll keep pushing boundaries, he'll keep testing what he can get away with, and he'll keep relying on his base to defend him no matter what he does. But his base is shrinking. Polls show his approval in the low 40s, his support with independents is dropping, and every incident like this pushes more voters away. Republicans in Congress are starting to realize that defending Trump might cost them their political careers, and when they start putting their own survival ahead of loyalty to him, that's when things get dangerous for Trump. If enough Republicans decide it's safer to let him fail than to keep covering for him, he's finished. This video might be the moment where some of them start making that calculation. So here's the bottom line. Trump posted one of the most racist things we've seen from a modern president. He refused to apologize. His excuses don't hold up, and the backlash is coming from all sides, including his own party. Obama doesn't need to say a word because America is taking revenge for him through the ballot box, through public opinion, through Republicans finally drawing a line. And if this costs Trump and the GOP control of Congress in 9 months, well, that's not just revenge. That's justice. Trump bet that he could get away with anything, that his supporters would never abandon him, that racism wouldn't have consequences. He's about to find out he was wrong. This is the moment where the Trump era starts eating itself, and we all get to watch it happen in real time.